So the problem you have when you're a musician who's not very big and wants to collab with a bigger artist is that right out the gate, the collaboration is very one-sided because you're tapping into a bigger fan base than they are and potentially converting those fans to yours. You're tapping and attaching yourself to a more established brand while they're attaching yourself to a brand who's taking more risk, and you're accessing that bigger musicians' networks. All those three things are incredibly valuable in the music industry, and the fact that you can do it without immediately giving anything back to the bigger musician makes it very difficult for you to convince a bigger musician to collab with you. So as I often speak about on this YouTube channel, the key to getting a collaboration with an artist that is bigger than you is through the idea of value. You have to make sure that however you can, you provide value. You're not going to provide value through a bigger brand or anything like that. So you want to make sure that the value you provide is there in a different way that the musician wasn't expecting. So in this video, I'm going to run you exactly how you're going to be able to collaborate with the bigger artist, what to do, and I'm going to give you some advice that you've probably heard a million times, but it's still good advice, so you want to hear it again. But I'm also going to tell you something that I promise you haven't heard anywhere else, because most people don't even fucking realize this is what you need to be doing. So at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you one piece of advice I promise you haven't heard at all. The first step that you want to take is research. Before you contact anyone, before you send a single text, I want you to do research, and you're going to write an extensive list of every artist that you could collaborate with that you think you have a crossover audience with. Now, it could be you have a crossover audience because you have similar related interests, because you have a similar sound, because you have a similar geography, whatever it is. Find artists that you have a crossover with. Now, if you're stuck and don't know where to go, here are some ideas of how you can find these types of artists. Number one, go on Spotify and click the three little buttons that you have next to a song. Go to your own song and click the three little buttons, and then select Go to Radio. This is going to take you to the radio page for you, which basically just algorithmically stacks you in with a bunch of musicians that have similar listeners and therefore likely have similar style. You can also go to TikTok and see what musicians your followers also follow, or which musicians you end up following and talking to. Those two ways are basically the best ways you can find musicians that are in your category, in your niche. And I want you to make a list of around 20 to 50, because if you only email one artist trying to collab, no matter how good that email is, you're probably not going to get a collab. So again, game of volume and value. This is what I say in every fucking video. Make a list of 20 to 50 musicians that you truly like and you truly want to collaborate with. And that way we can move forward with the email with all 20 to 50 people. So once you've identified this list of 20 to 50, what you need to do next is research. Okay, look at what they're doing, look at what they stand for, look at what kind of music they're making, because it's going to inform what kind of collaboration you want to do, which kind of collaboration you're going to offer, and it's going to increase your odds of success in getting their attention drastically. Okay, so most people just want to see their follower count and say, hey, do you want to collab? If you do research into what they like, what moves them, what kind of music they really want to make, and you tap into that, you're much more likely to get their attention, because all people want to do is what they love. And if you can facilitate that by saying, hey, let's collaborate in this that I know you like, you're much more likely to get a response. So do your research and figure out what they do, and more importantly, what they stand for. Now that you've done this, we need to stop, because before you send a single text message to them or anyone else, you have to make sure that you have your value set. I want you to look at your career, at your music, at your discography, at your talent, at everything that you can offer as a musician. And I want you to realize some things everyone has and some things only you have. Focus on what only you have and use it as leverage when providing value to a musician who is bigger than you, because you cannot get there with numbers. They're going to have more followers than you, they're going to have more streams. So what can you offer that is going to make them want to pay attention to you? Now, to give you some ideas, this could be that you have a very unique voice, or that you play a lot of instruments so you don't have to hire session musicians. Maybe you have a very interesting creative process. Maybe you know someone like a producer that they want to get to know so you can all work together. Maybe they just want to work with someone who's from your area of town, or maybe they just want to lock into a fan base that's a little more local but a bit more dedicated. And that's something that you can really focus on, is the idea of having a lower audience but a more engaged audience. If you have a very, very loyal fan base, most musicians who are bigger than you are going to want to tap into that, because if they see that even if you have less followers, those followers are more often clicking on your links, interacting with your posts, commenting, and the engagement rate, the percentage engagement rate of each post and each interaction is high, you're a very valuable asset to be linked to, because you have a very loyal and devoted fan base. And if you want to know how to do this through social media, I made a video a couple weeks ago on how to grow on social media and grow that devoted fan base, so you can watch that. Now that you've got the value, now that you've got your value proposition to the bigger artist and you've got the list of bigger artists, this is exactly what you need to do. Most people are going to tell you to DM the artist. And listen, if you want to hit it from like a creative angle and talk to the artist about your creative visions, that's fine. But most big artists are going to be too busy to truly pay attention to that. So this is the advice that I told you about earlier in the video that no one's told you. Email the personal manager. those are the people that make the connections. Those are the people who make the introductions. Those are the people that you have to talk to. So don't email the artist unless you really have an interesting pitch that is going to be artist friendly. Most of the time, find the email of the personal manager. You can find it on Roster or LinkedIn, and I'll link both of those in the video description. And with those emails, you can contact the entire team of the musician and organize something through them. Because at the end of the day, if a musician is bigger than you, they probably have more of a business going on. They're probably bringing in more money and they have more people on deck, which means you want to go to the head chief, which is not the musician, it's the personal manager. And if you don't know what a personal manager is, I made a whole video about it, but essentially they're just like the careers babysitters. They run the whole thing. They connect everyone with everyone. They make sure the artist is doing what he needs to be doing. And you're essentially so focused on contacting the personal manager, you may not even want to introduce yourself to the artist until something is happening. So no one talks about this, and I don't know why. Contact the personal manager if you want a collaboration. Now make sure that the email is very well structured, because as I said, personal managers who have bigger artists are probably going to be extremely busy and can't answer every email. So make sure the subject line is clear, make sure the email is short but cohesive and effective. And I actually made a video on how to pitch brands with a good email to make sure you can get a sponsorship even if you're a small artist. And the same principles apply to emailing a personal manager. So feel free to watch that video and take notes on how to really compose a good email. Now, once you've done this and you've secured a collaboration, your work is not done, because now you need to prove that you're trustworthy. The music industry runs on people, therefore it runs on reputation. And this is something that if you don't understand, you may as well not be in the music industry. You need a good reputation. So once you collaborate with someone, make sure you're constantly promoting on your social media, make sure you're giving them their flowers, giving them their effort back, and make sure that they feel like they're being appreciated for the favor that they've done you of collaborating with someone smaller. So make sure you're always following through and making sure everything that you agreed to in the contract that you said yes to, you're following through, and make sure you do that. Now, if you need more personal advice when it comes to this or literally anything else in your career, I do offer one-on-one consulting calls where I can give you advice more personally tailored to you. But if this is useful, also consider figuring out how to grow your social media like I mentioned, because this is going to allow you to unlock this new level of artists that you previously couldn't have even dreamed of working with. So if you really want to work on your social media, watch this video next.